From the block to the boardroom, listening close. They're spilling all the secrets, the highs and the lows. HR blunders, they'll laugh, they'll inspire. Two sisters on fire, lifting the empire.
All right, welcome back to another episode of HR Blunders. We are officially in the month of August. Can you believe it?
No, I cannot.
It
No,
is.
I
This year is
cannot.
flying by so
It
fast.
is.
Like it is just crazy. It's
It
been
really
crazy.
is. Yes.
All right, so let's talk about what's our topic tonight.
Can introverts succeed in management? It's kind of the thought
All right.
process there. Can
All right.
introverts succeed in management? A lot of people feel that just management in general, you have to be a bit more extroverted to succeed in that role, and so we're kind of discussing that if we feel that's true or not.
Okay. And I guess let's introduce ourselves. I am Clonetta, the HR Whisperer.
And I am Jasmine Jatan, aka Jazz the Life Engineer.
So as we jump into this topic, I guess I kind of think it would be cool for us to self-identify ourselves on the
Okay.
introverted versus, scale. So I identify as an introvert.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm probably more extroverted. Um,
You are an extrovert, please. And look, even from when you were childhood. Oh my goodness. You've always
I
been
think that I can be introverted at times, but I probably am more extroverted. And
you
in
are
the
an
field,
extrovert.
I'm an extrovert. Okay. And
Everybody knows Jasmine.
and in the field that I'm in, I think I'm even more extroverted, I guess, because in our field, people do tend to be more introverted, right? In engineering. So I probably seem really extroverted, right, in comparison to others. so
Oh,
I've noticed that, in the workplace. But um yeah, so the scenario that kind of brought this up is a new manager is introverted and has worked for the company uh, over 20 years and has gotten into management.
okay.
And
So they're
uh,
new to management. They've been newly promoted to management.
they've been in management probably about 5 or 6 years, but they've inherited a new team of
Okay.
people. So they're already in management. They've been in management for a while, but they just inherited a new team because the old manager is retiring. And
Okay.
so um,
So
a
they have
lot
more
of the,
visibility now.
huh?
So now they have more visibility because
Right, they're adding more members to their team. Their team is probably doubling in size,
okay.
and a lot of the people on the team that they're acquiring worked with the new manager when they were an engineer.
Okay. Now, is this
So
someone that's on an upward trajectory, or because from what you're describing, this is probably going to be their last stop in
no,
management?
I think I believe that they're on an upward trajectory.
Oh, really?
Possibly. I'm not really sure.
Right.
Um I will say I was kind of surprised to find out that they were in management. But what was amazing to me was that some of the uh more mature engineers that have been with the company a long time and that had worked with the manager prior to them getting into management, just how quick they were to say that she was standoffish.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really feel like they were just saying that just because she was introverted.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, dang. I mean, and it just kind of goes back to, how do you handle that? You know, And I was just like, well, they asked me about it, and I said, well, I don't think that she's standoffish. I think that she's just introverted.
And what
Um,
level of management? This must be like entry level management.
yes, first level.
Yeah. Um, how many more years does this person probably have in their career?
Oh man, at least 10 to 15.
10 to 15. And are they, I don't want to give the person away, but
Mm-mm.
um, are they, it's a woman, but are they a minority?
No.
They're not. Okay. Female, a male dominated
Right. It's
industry,
it's
right?
it's still a male dominated industry, and yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, because that could play into it as well. It's not an excuse because I don't make excuses, but um, either a couple things could happen. Either she's very well connected, and then people will start to see her in other roles, and even moving up in the company, and people will be confused and really talking about her, like how does she have this job, or how is she managing me, or this is going to be her last stop in management. Because, like, if I'll speak from personal experience, my experience is that you do, again, you can be an introvert, but I've shared with people because I feel like I'm an introvert. I tell people I'm an introvert but forced extrovert for business. And there was a point where I realized if I wanted to have upward mobility, then I needed to be a little more extroverted,
Yeah.
right? And that was more challenging initially, like when I first recognized that. It was daunting because it was taking me out of my comfort zone
Yeah.
and I was having to push myself out of my comfort zone. Now it's like something comes on, like I understand it's showtime, jazz hands. And so, you know, let's go. But after that, again, the reason I still identify as an introvert, because I had this conversation with someone actually a couple of weeks ago. It was a networking call, and in the line of work that they do, they focus on that. Like if a person's an introvert versus extrovert, and they work from that with people. And they were like, I don't see you as an introvert, Clanetta.
Mm.
And one of the ways that I know I still am is because introverts out there will relate to this. When you're an introvert, and even if you're forcing yourself to act extroverted, right, for whatever reason, once you're through that cycle or that period or that hour meeting or whatever, or that event, we talked about the going to happy hours and to the events outside of work and stuff, you are
Right.
so drained.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yes.
it takes a toll on you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are just completely because unlike an extrovert who's
Who
always
gains energy from that? We gain energy, right? Yeah. Yeah.
yes, like for you, it kind of depletes you, right?
Yeah.
And then to rejuvenate, it's almost like you have to go within that much more
Retreat.
to
Yeah.
feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable and feel better. Yes, to energize yourself. So then you
Yeah.
have to kind of recluse like after those moments, versus like you were saying, like the extrovert on the opposite end, they gain energy from
Yeah.
being with the crowd, from being
Yeah.
out there, the life of the party. It gets them going, right? The introvert, you have to take deep breaths. You have to look. I got to stop telling y'all my little secrets. So I'm not giving y'all this one, but like there's little even secrets and things that I learned like along the way.
Yeah.
Once I got to the point where I knew like I had to go in front of like these large crowds, these
Right.
large groups and speak in front of people. Um, but after I would come off of whether it's a stage or, just the front of whatever the meeting, like, yeah, you could feel like that, like it just, again, it just depleted me. Or
Yeah.
like, that corporate world where you're traveling and again, like you're starting from the morning to the evening,
Yeah.
right? You're on from the morning because sometimes like you'll have crazy, like I had a really, really crazy cycle kind of situation where like it was expected that we meet for breakfast. Let's all meet for breakfast at 7 a.m. Because we all stayed at the same hotel. So let's all meet up. We had to meet for breakfast down, you know, in the like little restaurant area for the hotel. So again, so it's starting at 7, then you'd work all day. Like then we had to be all together and share cars and drive over together, right? To do
Right. Carpool. Hmm.
then we're working all together. Then we come back driving all together back to the hotel. Then in the lobby, this leader would say, "Oh, let's be back down here in 10 minutes. Go to dinner." So then we get that 10 minutes where you can go see the room. And again, as an introvert, you're like, trying to decompress because all day, right, you've been interacting and interfacing with people. And there probably was even you having to go speak in front of a few hundred people in the midst of that, and or walk through a facility and shake hands and people are coming up to you and trying to introduce themselves and things like that, and and you're having to smile and and be nice and courteous, or they want to come tell you the problems that they're having, how horrible things have been. Oh my goodness, I have to tell you what's been going on here. um, so then you got 10 minutes for that, and then call your family, your loved one, all that in 10 minutes. Then that 10 you got to be back down in the lobby to get ready because you're back on. Because don't think it's just a light dinner, like, oh, let's kick our feet up. No, honey, you're still on. And when you go to dinner, guess what the topic is going to be? It's going to be about work. What you think of so and so, right? Because I'm in the people business, right? What you think of so and so today, like during the meeting? Like, what you think, right? So can't even enjoy my steak or whatever, on my little cock. Now I need the cocktails. Look,
Now I need the cocktail.
so because again, you're still on, like, so you're still exercising my brain, right? Like I can't even, So it can it can be very, very depleting, right? Especially as an introvert. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like it really, really can. But I say again, like for this person, because understand now, an introvert could choose, like, oh, I need this time to myself. Like I spent all day with them. I'm gonna pass on dinner. These are the unspoken things and unwritten things that are like that's career suicide.
Yeah.
Like these are the things. It's perfectly all right technically for you not to engage and to you need some rest, right? Or you have some other work that needs to be done. Because let's not forget about that, because then there's actual like reports and things like because for the next day you got to present in a meeting. That stuff has to be done when you get back to the hotel, like at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then you're up till 12, 1 o'clock. But no, you could choose because it's, again, it makes sense. Like, no, I actually have work to do and I just need to have a break from them. I'm not going to go to the dinner. Those are the things where you begin to exclude yourself and remove yourself from consideration, right, for those next opportunities. So those are the hard choices, right, that oftentimes aren't talking about enough. Um, if you hope to have that true upward trajectory or what have you. So I think like for this person, hopefully they have a mentor that can pull them aside and like if they do have hopes of climbing the ladder, give them some feedback
Hmm.
because it sounds like they're in for a rough ride. Because even if they aren't looking to move upward trajectory, the upward trajectory, they're again, they're now, it sounds like they've inherited a team for whom doesn't necessarily take them seriously or their leadership. And again, I always tell people my definition of a leader, it's not merely a title, but it's the ability to move other people into action. And so if they don't look at you seriously as a leader and aren't taking you seriously, you are going to struggle to drive your initiatives to close, to meet your deadlines, to really have an engaged team and workforce that really can drive and hit things hard for you. So all that plays into it. Like that's why charismatic people, like you can have people, and I'm sure you can reflect. Look, don't say no names, but you probably have looked at over the years in your organization, and you and coworkers have probably said, you know what? I don't know how they got in that role, but they are the life of the party. They are so charismatic,
Yeah.
or they don't know anything. Like this person in meetings can be asked by even their upper management about something and they're like, I don't know. But you know what? They're charismatic. They're able to get the people going. They're able to lead a team. They make people feel good. Like they come in the room and rah rah, and people just feel good when they leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all a part of it as well. Because you can have all the technical depth and knowledge that you want. But again, if you aren't able to move people into action,
Right.
drive in these businesses, drive initiatives, increase revenue, you don't matter.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true.
Because that's what they hear. They hear dollars.
Yeah.
They hear dollars.
It is important to be well liked. I've seen that carry people a long way. Just being well liked.
It gets you invited to things.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, for an introvert, is the gift and the curse, right?
Yeah.
Oh, another dinner? Okay, you want me to go? Okay. Just what I was wanting to do. But I'm telling you, don't. And even like outside of like the traditional work, like as an entrepreneur, again, you'll have those opportunities. You're like, oh, I'm kind of tired. I can just sit this out. But again, you might be closing off your opportunities.
So
right?
true.
And
Yeah.
some of the best opportunities have come my way, spur of the moment.
That's true.
Literally,
That's so
somebody
true.
who doesn't even know my name. Hey, are you guys coming to dinner with us? Yeah, yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going? That's when I have to tap into my inner jazz the life engineer. And act like I'm an extrovert. Like I really want to be, out there,
That is funny.
smiling and carrying on.
Uh-uh.
But no, but seriously, but inside it's like, oh my God, like it feels so draining. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Do you think that within the organization, especially with it being a new team, that they will do any like 360 reviews, or like I used to do like a new manager assimilation like process? Do you think they'll do any of that?
They might. Like I said, they've been in management a long time. I think 5 or 6 years. They're just acquiring a new subset because that particular manager is retiring. But I
Yeah.
think that most of them are really excited for the new management because the manager they had was just whew. So I think that they are excited, but it's just some of them had some reservations. And I just thought it was interesting that reservations were really all around them being introverted, and I was just like, wow, it's just amazing how that works.
No, definitely. I mean, but there's some of that's valid too, because you wonder too, again, if they're just a quiet person and not talkative, are they getting to know me and what I do and what I contribute to this company? How are they representing me when the doors are closed? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
I
I
could see
I want
that.
Marvin Sapp close them doors. Look,
Uh-uh.
when the doors are closed, how are they representing me?
Yeah,
Right? And the doors are closed when succession planning discussions are occurring and when performance management discussions are occurring and
yeah.
comp planning. And so I, again, like, especially these young whippersnappers, because they be on 45, they want to get promoted quickly and they want,
Yeah,
the money quick,
yeah.
right? And
So
so
true.
I can see some of them worried, like, she's not going to represent me well. Like, she's not going to speak up, like, and tell them everything I'm doing. And. So I could see, again, so some of the concerns could be valid.
Well, the younger ones seemed cool with it. It was more the ones that
Oh,
kind of.
really?
I think it was more because they. I think it was more some of the ones that had worked with the manager as an engineer that had the reservations.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, that's interesting. But do you think that, from your observation, could could that person have changed though? Because in
Yeah,
all, they may
yeah.
have
I
been
mean,
reserved as an engineer, but like I said, they might have figured
that
out
was years, but that was years ago.
I have to like be an extrovert for business. So
Well,
they
that
have,
that was years ago. I mean, when we had worked with her, that was years ago. I mean, so
yeah. But is she still technically introverted now? Mm-hmm.
but well, I mean, they had a happy hour, and she came to meet the team. I mean, and
See, so she probably is on that trajectory.
yeah,
Somebody maybe
yeah,
is pulled aside.
she's more outgoing. She's much
Yeah.
more outgoing now than she was as a regular engineer.
Oh, okay. So she's already on the shift. Somebody's
Yeah.
pulled her aside, and especially as a woman in that world. Likely, she probably had a mentor,
Hmm.
maybe a female mentor, right? And again, and that's where those things are useful to like make you aware of your blind spots because you
Hmm.
can be the best individual contributor in your
Right.
comfort zone. And you can stay there if no one, and that's why you got to stop being so offended. Like people get so offensive when folks try to either bring correction to them or enlighten them of blind spots, especially because, like I said, you could be like the best individual contributor, getting the highest ratings every year, but you're going to stay there because that's how you're seen in the organization. You're not
Right.
seen as a leader, you're seen as an individual contributor. But then it can take a good mentor, and you might actually slip and say, you know what? I want to be in management. Like, I want to move up the ladder. Like, I want to make more money. And then you have somebody that, again, is a great mentor who realizes I need to be honest with you then. If that's what your hope is, then you're going to need to change some things. Like you're going to have to step outside of your shell because that will hold you back.
Yeah.
Sometimes people aren't don't get that. And that's why that mentorship is so necessary and so needed at all levels, even like I said, even the entrepreneurship
Yeah. Yeah.
at all levels.
Yeah. I definitely see that.
All right. Well, cool. All right. What else do we have on the docket tonight?
We were talking about uh what should be said in the workplace. So
Okay. Now that's interesting.
yeah, so we had a scenario where right now we've got a lot of work going on, and we've had a coworker that has taken vacation during key performance indicator type timelines that we had milestones due, and really didn't have backup to handle those milestones being completed. And employee A was talking to employee B who has vacation coming up, and employee B has like stepped in and worked 12-hour shifts for the last few months to try to, help support these milestones. And now finally it's time for him to take some vacation, right? Employee B. And he's kind of apprehensive about it because we still have a lot of milestones ahead. Well, employee A is like, that's not your problem, uh, let the company figure it out how to get all that done. In the middle of the work area, now, mind you, we have senior leadership that sits 2 cubicles down. I mean, I feel like what employee A was saying wasn't wrong, but I don't think that was the right place for employee A to be saying that. I mean,
And what did employee B do?
Well, he kind of didn't agree with. He just was kind of like, well, I mean, he was concerned about the milestones and should he cancel his vacation? And employee A was telling him, don't worry about it. It's the company's problem. It's not his. And
See, employee, this is the 2 lessons. This is why I'm pulling this out. I'm about to do HR Whisperer lessons right here. Employee A act like he don't want to work there. Okay? So, in a couple months, when everybody's like, "Where's Jim?" Think back to that conversation, because here's the thing: everybody's not going to confront you about your crazy.
Yeah.
They're making mental notes and they're writing it down and making a list. Okay. Because that speaks, I'm not necessarily an advocate of this company or this organization or this team. Now, the reason I asked about what employee B did is because that's another lesson. Because sometimes you will have people come talk crazy to you. And other people are around listening, even if you might agree a little bit. Because employee B, maybe he might have agreed, but he had some good sense. He knew to be loud and let them know, I don't agree. I think, because when you got the right ears listening.
Yeah, he was really worried about the milestones. I think the bottom line is, I think we all agree to an extent with employee A, right? I mean, but the bottom line is, that's not the appropriate thing to be saying
It's not.
Yeah, and I think that this is the challenge that we get into specifically with Gen Z, because both were Gen Zers.
Were they different demographics, or like?
Yeah,
Gen Z.
They're both Gen Z. They were both Gen Z.
They were both Gen Z. Okay, so it wasn't like a more senior and a. Okay, but see, that's a good way, because see, Gen Z, he gonna learn. He's going to learn, unfortunately, because see, that's a good way to not ever have to worry about taking vacation. Oh, vacation is it? I'm about to free your schedule, buddy.
Yeah, I just was sitting there like, because like I said, we have senior leadership in the area right now working on a special project. So I mean, he's right there. I mean, your manager's manager is right there listening to this conversation. I'm just like, man, that's just not.
I have to worry about that. Some of it, I said, you don't even have to worry about that sometimes. Sometimes you got somebody sitting smiling in your face and they might be dying. And do you know that same person will go behind closed doors and tell on you?
Yeah.
Jim said the other day, well, he said such and such and such and such. So you can't just, again, you have to have some common sense, or again, here we go back to the critical thinking or lack thereof, right? Because again, it kind of boils back, it all comes back full circle that we've talked about before. This lack of common sense or critical thinking that seems to be a thing.
Yeah, because employee B was really, kind of remorseful that his vacation was falling in this timeline where we really had these core milestones and needed help. He, really was sad about it. And employee A was telling him, Psh.
And I mean, even that, like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Like if you can't get your refunds, because I can see why he might have been putting on Okay. But I can see, again, if this person has other motivations, upward trajectory, really wants to drive their career, and if he has been mentored good, and sometimes that mentorship is like an older sibling, depending on who he is, the culture, and things like that. It could be an older sibling or a parent, right? He may recognize these are key, opportune times to really shine. But by him being gone, missing those, like he's going to miss out on those opportunities to have those moments that he can highlight, right, in his career, in his performance year. That, hey, I was a part of this team that delivered on XYZ.
Yeah.
And so, again, like you may want to rethink that vacation. Still go plan it, but maybe it's another, maybe there's a better time to take it, you know, but you don't want to not take at all because, like we talked about the last time, the burnout and the risk, and the feeling guilty. But yeah, but he may recognize, like, okay, I'm gonna miss out. Like if it's a really key peak season, that hey, I'm gonna miss out on being able to really crush these goals and initiatives and get highlighted for that.
Yeah.
Because when you come back, it might be too late to jump on those projects, or you're jumping on in the tail end, and so you're not going to get the same recognition as the people that carried it from beginning to end, the whole process management cycle. Um, and I know engineers, look, I know about the PMP, so the project management professional. So you want to highlight those skills when you have opportunities.
Yeah.
And who knows? And he may recognize between now and the end of the year, again, like you're in the home stretch, baby. Because think about it, especially if the organization is on like January through December fiscal year cycle.
Yep.
Now we are in what, third quarter?
Right.
To enter into fourth. And then most likely, like I said, if they're on that January to December cycle, your opportunities to do things that are going to truly be able to be included on your performance review, a lot of times that ends like late October,
Yeah.
early November. That's the reality. And right now we're in August.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'm giving it too much game, right? So you've got August, September, October, 3 months
Yep.
to really make some significant great impact, or to push you over the edge, or maybe
Right.
again he's very competitive with himself. Like he might know he's on the cusp, like he's had a great year, but like if he was able to get one of these projects under his belt, it's gonna make him an outstanding versus an exceeds expectations or something like that. And those things mean something when it's time for
Yeah.
compensation.
That's
Those
true.
ratings oftentimes translate into what percentage of increase you're going to get for your merit, what percentage of
Yeah.
merit, what percentage of increase, or what percentage of bonus payment
Right.
that you receive, the percentage of the stock options awards if you're at that level. Those things mean something and translate into numbers, or even translate into, do I get to stay? Like, who do we
Yep.
need to keep on this team? Like, if the company or organization gets into a situation where they have to decide, or like kind of narrow down, scale down the team. So, yeah. So that's tough. That is really, really something. That's something. So, did any fallout come from it at this point, or no?
Not yet. Mm-mm.
Not yet. And so, do you know if the young man is still going to take his vacation?
He said he would because he had already paid, so he said he was
Okay.
employee
And that's
B.
understandable. And people can understand that. And he's probably going to tell, yeah, next year, again, if he has a good relationship with his boss, like share his goals for the following year, and hopefully get his boss on the same like mindset, to be able to help him maybe plan out, so they can actually get him assigned and get him on some of those bigger projects and
Yeah.
initiatives, right? So, Yeah. Because, I mean, life happens, right? At the same time, you don't want to stop living, for
Right.
the balance, right? There's a give and a take with everything. And so with your career, you don't want to sacrifice life per se in life experiences for career. But you also don't want to sacrifice career necessarily for life experiences as well. You want to have a
Yeah.
good balance, a
Yeah.
good ebb and flow. Some things are worth it and some things aren't, because there's some life moments, there's some, again, depending on who he's going with, right? Like, you don't know, like that could be like your last time getting to travel with that group, right? Especially if you're just out of college, because this might be like the last year before everybody really gets locked down, married, and starts having their kids and stuff. So this might be like you can't relive that moment,
Right.
right? And there's things in life that, again, like fall into that same category. On the opposite end of the spectrum, again, there's other once in a lifetime career opportunities, right? That you just can't replay, that only happen, once,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, but you can't get bummed out about it. Just know that there will be other opportunities in the future. And just to make sure that you are doing the things to put yourself in the running, and that the right people, i.e., your boss, the senior leadership, that they know you want those opportunities, and that you are doing the things to show that you're worthy of those opportunities. So you can get tapped on the shoulder to work on those, key initiatives.
So true.
Yeah. No, that's pretty tough. All right. Anything else that you want to discuss tonight?
That's about it.
Okay. I had some things that, because I put on here other hot topics, if we
Yeah.
had time, which we got
Okay.
just a few more minutes. So I kind of tease, but then I kind of not tease. This is my little public service announcement, or my kind of doing good, you know, moment. I want to take a little pause because I'm going to share my screen. I don't think I'm going to play any of the videos, but I'm still going to, again, I'll share my screen just for fair use. But I've been seeing just a trend of these different videos and articles and titles and things. Why so many PhDs can't find jobs in 2025, have a PhD, can't get a job, still can't find an entry level job with a biomedical engineering degree. And again, something stood out to me that is something I've been speaking about for years in conversations that I've been having with people. Some I mentor, some I don't. Sometimes I've been more reserved because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I feel like we're in an era and a day and age where, again, sometimes your feelings need to be hurt. Like, I would rather hurt your feelings now than you get mid 20s or 30. And look, at this age, these kids are projected they're going to be $350,000 in debt to get some of these degrees, unless they
Yeah.
have an absorbent amount of scholarships and grants that they don't have to pay back. Then to be in that predicament and this be your story, these titles, I have this huge degree, but can't get a job, or you can get a job, but it's, as this one video with this young lady, she was saying it's not a livable wage. And actually, she's not a young lady per se. She's like in her 30s, right? Because she's been kind of in this field. But like I said, the different markets have been shifting. So it sounds like she's probably been restructured out, or
Okay.
her program that she was with, because she's in academia, they lost the funding. So
Oh,
now
okay.
she's found herself in a place where she is in the job market and searching. And so she's realized that with her PhD that she can't find a job that pays more than, and these were her words, but it's actually the numbers are accurate, that pays more than a McDonald's manager role, right? And I have to tell you, people, some people kind of shun those jobs. And I don't know if you should be shunning them. Now, I will tell you, they work hard. They work extremely hard. But here is the reality. Well, she was actually saying she make less, but here's the reality. The average salary range for a McDonald's manager role is between $40,000 to $60,000 annually, right? It depends on location. But I do want to let you know, when y'all are driving through those drive-throughs and with your nose tooted up, some of these managers in the United States are making, according to this, $98,559 a year.
Well, but it's also they get a percentage of the store revenue or something for those men. I thought they had profit sharing or something.
It depends, because a lot of these establishment, it depends on our owner.
Okay.
Like
it depends on if it's franchise or owner.
Yeah.
If it's corporate owned or
yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I know years ago I knew of I interviewed someone, and I think we both realized that it was better for her to stay at McDonald's than to come interview for the job at the plant, because I think we were interviewing her for like a supervisory job at one of the plants that I had a team at, and she was at one of the owner, like McDonald's, the owner, run. This owner, he had like 4 or 5 or something. This was in the Chicagoland area. And so I think he was kind of paying her a little bit higher than what maybe the corporate like would have, said the role should be. But she also was doing a little bit more and a little extra, and he saw value in her. And for the neighborhood, for the store, she was running 2 stores actually. For one of the stores that she was working in, like she spoke the language, like it was highly concentrated with a different demographic outside of the US that would migrate here. It wasn't Spanish, like it was like Polish or something like that, I think. And she spoke the language. So he was compensating her higher and had actually promised her, like, again, if she's able to help increase the sales, she knew she had some additional monies coming. And it actually, like I said, as she shared this with me, like I couldn't argue with her. There's nothing I could say to kind of change her mind or anything like that. Because I knew I would be in the wrong. The reality is the better opportunity for her seemed to be with McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And the particular manager that she was working with, the owner. Also, in addition to, they do provide education reimbursement. Right. Not to mention just the internal. They have McDonald's University, right? So the internal training, again, if you get into management, that you would go through. But yeah, like I said, I say that to say, as kids are getting ready to go to school, one, the educational route might not be for everyone, especially in today's day and age with the exorbitant cost of education. And if that's not you, and if that's not your child, there are other lucrative opportunities to explore. And this is near and dear to my heart, because a lot of times I find for certain communities, because their vantage point is so narrow, they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know or realize that in some instances today, it's actually more lucrative to work with your hands. If you're able to acquire a trade, become a skilled tradesman, whether it's in carpentry, electricity, plumbing, you can do extremely well. For those that are down south, like Texas, a lot of those individuals know they can get a petroleum certification, which is, I think, less than even a year program or less. Back in the day when I was working in petroleum in the oil and gas industry, hourly employees at those refineries with no degree required, just a high school diploma or GED. My people that I was responsible for were making $120,000 a year. Now that was with overtime. And it was grossly misrepresented from a demographic perspective. And that's here in Michigan. Because lack of knowledge. Because when you don't know this, then you're still trying to go get hired at a Ford or GM, where they're steady lowering the hourly rates, right? Competitive, starting you at $17 an hour. And you're listening to people who also have an even narrow scope and mindset because it was a good job 30, 40 years ago when they were in the job market. So you're listening to that. Yes, a good job, right? Even when I came out, like I actually had a relative, I think, get an attitude because I decided I was going to stay and get my master's, like go straight through the college. He wasn't paying for shit. Look, wasn't paying nothing toward no tuition, okay? But had an attitude because they thought that I should leave school and get a government job. That's a good job, right? Because they're working with old information.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, that would have been feasible because actually by, I think, the second quarter of my junior year, I actually was already working for the government. Like I was working for the state of Michigan. I had a little gig. And I actually stayed with that while in school full time, all the way through grad school, all the way through graduate school. They even let me, I quit because I was going to take a internship with Ford. Or I was prepared to quit. I let them know I was having to quit because the summer I was taking my internship. And they actually said, oh, no, we're just going to put you on a leave. And when you come back, then you just come back here. And so like I said, I ended up having that, and I learned a lot. Like it was nice money and it was in my field in human resources. And I actually learned a lot, in that role. But there's danger when you have people in your ear and instructing you and guiding you that have old information.
Yeah.
And you've said this many of times, like on this podcast, information, and tell the people the metrics and remind me how fast.
Oh, yeah. Information is doubling every 12 hours now.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, something that, yeah.
Uncle,
Yeah.
auntie, grandma, again, because it was a good job back then. And benefits were extremely different then. Like for many of these organizations, like even when you retired, there was a period of time where you didn't have to worry about healthcare.
Right.
Like even when you retired, like you paid nothing. You didn't have a premium while you were working. And when you retired, you still didn't have a premium and you had healthcare to last you till your day, to the day that you got out of here. You didn't have to put anything away toward retirement.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a 401k.
Yeah.
To contribute to.
Yeah.
And the pension was fully the company.
Right. It's fully on the company.
So then because that stuff changed, what we've done is we started adding costs to the employee. Right. So now that quote unquote good check that you're receiving, we got to start adding some deduction items, some line items on it. So what you're actually taking home is a lot less.
Right.
So again, I caution you around Vantage Point. especially as we get ready to enter into this next school season, and really making sure that you have a plan and that you've researched. There's too much technology today right at our fingertips, right? That you can punch it in right on your phone. You don't even have to punch it in on the computer like Dick Gregory used to say. You can punch it in on your phone. And you can, like, I just pulled up these numbers. You can pull up the same numbers.
Right.
Research, this is the degree I think I want to have. The website that you shared here, will AI take my job?
Hmm.
That would be a first step to start. That actually is a good site because it gives you all the information about the jobs. It tells you the salary information and everything. It's like a
Yep.
one-stop shop. And use that as your guide to determine if that's a field you want to go into. And I challenge you again, like there's going to be some passion jobs, passions that you have. Consider if you can do your passion in your free time. Because as I explain, and I tell it plain, like Clinton told it to me, when I'm mentoring kids, because they have to have it straight. Because again, I want you to get it now so you can chew on it. Then after you gotten through college and now you're disenchanted and
Yeah,
unemployed and
that's so
not
true.
live how you thought you were going to be able to live.
Right.
And I tell folks, you need to be able to live and eat. Like I make it that simple and that plain. You need to look at what you're going into, the salary, and determine, is that going to provide me with the lifestyle that I want? With first the necessities, living and eating. You're going to need to be able to provide yourself with housing, an apartment. You're probably going to want a vehicle. And then you need to feed yourself, right? Not to mention if you're taking out student loans, and we got to add that line item as well. Okay. And I tell folks, I've had to tell some folks, you can do your hobby in your free time, but let's make sure you can live and eat first.
Right.
And you're going to be an even better contributor to society and to the community, right? Because you're going to be smiling so much, life is going to be good. You're not going to have an attitude when you show
Yeah.
up. You're going to be able to motivate people.
Yeah.
You're going to have even greater impact, you know? But it's hard when you are barely making it, just like the very people for whom you are serving.
Yeah.
You know, if you're working at a shelter, and honey, you might need to take a cot yourself. Like, and it's that, no, seriously, because I remember years ago, I was just so shocked because I guess, like I said, because Clint told, he would talk to me straight. Like, he let me know this wasn't going to be no, like, oh, we taking care of you your whole life. And he used to tell me, look, I want to be able to come visit you, and I don't want it to have to be a rescue mission when I come visit, like, and stuff, right? So you better, get you something that you can, you know, live and live comfortably on. And I
True.
remember going to the job fairs. And again, the reality is, because everybody want to jump into my field, if you want to go into human resources, you need to expect to get an advanced degree. You need a master's. You need a master's and you don't need a PhD. But you need a master's because this is business. Back when I was coming out of undergrad, I went to the job fair, and I guess I was a little snooty back then because I would go to the booths and they was talking about 35,000, and I was like, I can't live off that. And that's what helped me understand I needed to stay in college, like
Hmm.
because people would ask me, and again, I just told them plain, like, why did you go straight through? I said because I don't want to leave college, and go work and then decide to go get my master's, come back to college, and then have to down my lifestyle down and have to struggle. I would rather just keep struggling now.
Yeah.
I had gotten real good at eating those packages of the crackers, the peanut butter crackers. You get the 2, 4, 6, 8 in a little thing. That and water, honey.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I was snatched too back then. Well, actually, well, now I didn't got it back. I'm back in that class, but I was snatched. 'Cause, you know, in college, you walk everywhere, like you walking
Yeah,
across the.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, water and them little crackers. Okay, they got me through. All right, and so yeah, I decided. I said no, I'd rather just keep. Let's just keep it going. It's just 2 more years, and then I'm home free. But again, you have to use some sense about this and some critical thinking,
Yeah,
and for the adults, begin to educate yourself. Like it would behoove you to go take a look yourself because you may be shocked at just how the world has changed
that's
and how the
true.
world has shifted from when your reality was, especially in the workforce. Because too many of these kids are coming out and they're disenchanted, right? Because
That's
they're being
true.
told just go, go, go to college, get the degree, get the education. But what are you going to get the degree in? Oh, and I've had parents, even as of the last year or two, and I don't say no. This is where I hold back because we're like, oh, what is she studying? Oh, she's undecided. She needs to decide to stay her butt at home because, like, you playing a very dangerous game, racking
Yeah,
up these student loans, talking about you got to decide. That's a very dangerous game to be
it
playing.
is. It is.
On the opposite end, we got some people some of these kids are taking it a little bit too far. Okay. And so there's some redirection that we got to do. So now I got to change up my commentary just a little. Because some of these kids, now they are on the page, they realize, you know what, education ain't for me. Now you're taking it a little bit too far because they have decided that they need to be an influencer or OnlyFans model. Okay, as a career option. Now that might be taking it a little bit too far. So we don't want you to go to that far extreme, right? Unless you know that's something that you're able to handle, because it's some stuff that some of them people make a lot of money on OnlyFans, but it's some stuff that comes with that. It's some attention that comes with that, right? As an influencer, same thing. There's some attention that you might realize is unwanted, and it becomes draining because you have to be on all the time. You have
Yeah,
to share everything, right? And that's what, like, for people that have been in the influencing world and the reality too. Again, technology has taken over with that. That will be obsolete here, I think, as we start going into the next year and the following years, because now technology has advanced so much so that people are able to duplicate themselves. And so a lot of these companies, I think, will be veering to using those resources for their
yeah.
influencers, where they won't be going and seeking out the humans and paying the big dollars, you know. So that's my little PSA. I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer, but I think it's a much needed, discussion. My goal is to
Yeah.
spark the minds of those who will change the world and to help uplift, motivate, and inspire others and help people make good decisions. Now I want you to make great decisions because your life depends on it.
So true.
And
So
we're in a world right now where a lot of the safety nets have been removed. And I think we'll see even more of those being removed.
yeah.
Like there's not really gonna be anyone to catch you,
Yep.
you know. And so you have to be participative in this and you have to be intentional about it. In whatever you do, go with it full force, give it your all and own it.
So true.
Yeah. I'm telling you. I've just been seeing too much of it.
Yeah.
And it sparked me that, like, hey, we're getting ready to go back to school. You know, as I talk to me and meet with people, they're packing up the kids, getting them ready so they can, in the next few weeks, they to drive them to campus and drop them
Right.
off. And it can be a great experience. I mean, you can have a lot of fun, and learn a lot. But make sure you're able to turn those learnings into something tangible.
Right.
Allows you to, again, don't make it complicated. to just be able to live and eat.
Yep. That's
To
it.
just be able to live and eat.
That's
And
it.
if you know you desire more than that, and you desire a more luxurious lifestyle, then you know that you need, you may need something else.
Yep.
Like you can't, if your desire is to be driving the foreigns, you Ferrari, then you likely are not going to be that PhD academia that's going to pay you about 60 some grand. Like that's a mismatch. Like that doesn't even the critical. Here we go to the critical
Align.
thinking.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even align, and
Mm-mm.
it's delusional.
Yeah.
Now we're in delusion. So again, we gotta use our heads, think critically, and and again, and be realistic with things. And again, like even if you have to step away from some of the folks that bring your IQ down, that's what you got to do. Why are you laughing? I'm serious because sometimes, again,
Sometimes.
like you
Yeah.
listen, you engage in this talk. Like I shared the post, I think it was you, the young man. He said he was trying to showboat. He said, "Y'all make $900 a week. I make $900 in 7 days." He don't even realize like 7 days is a week, honey.
Yeah.
Poor
That's where we
thing.
are, though. That's where we are.
No, and it's sad. It makes me so sad.
Yeah.
And it makes me, when I do go to the store, just pray that the electricity does not go out, because that's a sad sight to see them at that cash register trying to
You're
make
not
change,
lying. Man.
and you have to tell them, baby, you owe me 48 cents.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be again like a struggle. But
Yeah, that mental math. Yeah, that's not it. Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, that's kind of where we are.
It
But
is.
yeah. But no, but let's bring critical thinking back. That might be my new campaign. I might have to get a shirt made. Let's bring critical thinking back. Let's make critical thinking great again. Yes. Oh my God, I can see that on a hat. Don't y'all be trying to take my idea. But let's make critical thinking great again. I like that. That's the new campaign. Let's make it great again. I'm
It's rough.
telling you.
Yeah.
I am
It's rough.
telling you. Because I can't take it. I just what? I can't. Like Diamond, my little dog sometimes got more critical thinking than some of these people.
It's rough.
Because the dog know right from wrong.
Yeah, it's rough. It is. And it's sad because I feel like it's causing so many people uh, to not be able to reach their goals for their lives because they don't understand how to critically think through their lives. So
Do they
it's
have
really
goals?
sad. Huh?
Do they have goals for their lives?
I think they have goals and ideas, but they don't have the critical thinking skills to break those down into small executable steps
Okay.
to get there. That's what I see a lot.
Okay. But that's good in and of itself. At least they have goals, right? Because then there's a subset. No, that there's a subset that don't. Like when you ask, like I've gone before we go too long, we have to end soon. But found I probably spend too much time on TikTok at night. Like that's how I wind down now. And sometimes we even like we'll be like laying in bed, getting ready for bed, watching together, giggling, laughing, watching some of the stuff. Because now they have these basically dating shows. Right. Again,
Okay.
that's how much the world has changed. But it's on TikTok. People come up on, there'll be somebody who has designated themselves as a matchmaker. They just decided yesterday they were a matchmaker. They go
Okay.
live on TikTok and let people join. And you sit and they get to like speed date, right?
Okay.
And like I heard a man ask this woman, and these were grown people, okay? Like, what do you want out of life? And she could not articulate it.
Yeah.
And she had children. She was
You're so crazy.
no, she was some people's mother. She was a single mother, and he was okay with, like, he wasn't writing her off, you know. Like, so he's trying to. You could tell he was a little bit deeper. He'd read a couple books and stuff, so he's trying to get deep, right into the intellect, right? And she could not articulate it, and then she finally said, "I just don't worry about that. I focus on the day to day, just getting by the day to day." And I thought, wow, that is so sad. Like that just
Well,
sad.
a lot of people are there.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people are there.
Wow. And she missed an opportunity because he actually seemed like he was a little bit, I think he was a little older than her, but he seemed a little established. Like I said, like he read a couple books. Like he could have, you know, taken her and the kids in and given them a good life, but she messed that up. So
Dang.
I know. But it was just, again, it was sad because she really struggled. Like, and you could see physically became uncomfortable because
Yeah.
he kept asking, because like she started talking and it wasn't making sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I could tell, like, again, you could tell he was able to think critically. So I think he was thinking, well, let me rephrase it. Like maybe I didn't phrase my question right.
Right.
You know, so she's not getting it. So he tried to rephrase it a couple different times, and you could tell like she got so agitated. So then she finally said, I don't think about the future. I just think about the day to day. Because it became too difficult for her to be asked the question about, again, what do you want out of life?
Well, depending on whether she's surviving or thriving, that may be all she has the energy to focus on is the day to day. You know?
I know, but then I'm thinking, but you focused on the dating, speed dating.
Everybody has different priorities, unfortunately, and that's kind of the thing. Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, before I go on another rant, this is another episode of HR Blunders. Where can people find you?
Yes, I'm Jazz the Life Engineer.
There's a lot of lives there. So hold on, because we gotta make sure, grab a pen and some paper so you can write this down.
Yeah, so I'm Jazz the Life Engineer on Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Jazz with one Z. See,
Yep.
I'm trying to be helpful here. Jazz with one Z, the Life Engineer, on Facebook and Instagram. In the HR Whisperer or Lamborghini C or Edmund Enterprises, YouTube platforms, YouTube, IG, TikTok, and LinkedIn, you know, for the more professional contact and outreach. But yeah, another episode of HR Blunders. Thank you guys for watching.
See you next time.
HR Blunders, they'll laugh, they'll inspire.